Good evening. It's 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We could all rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could have a moment of service to honor our new fallen military members. Thank you so much. You may be seated. Kristen, has roll call been taken?
Yes.
Chief Sutter, would you do us the honors, please?
Scott Sutter, Chief of Police. Adam Young, City Planner and Zoning Administrator.
Kristen Kenyak, City Clerk. Ellen Glass, City Manager.
Jerry Link, City Council.
Pam Howard, City Council.
Mike Milner, City Attorney.
Liz Armstrong, Mayor.
Brad Dick, Mayor Pro Tem.
Tom Hicks, City Council.
Brenda Simons, City Councilor.
And I would like to excuse Denise Miller, who is absent tonight. Moving on to special presentations, we have a transportation discussion by Mr. Ed Benning, General Manager and CEO of the Mass Transportation Authority, or MTA.
Madam Mayor and City Council, as you just said, tonight we welcome Ed Benning, the General Manager for MTA. Mr. Benning is going to provide us an update tonight for all transportation initiatives. Looking forward to that. And shortly after we actually took over the management of LOC, we engaged with MTA on different various transportation efforts. We have an active grant right now that we're hoping that'll come through eventually on our own transportation for specific to LOC, and then we engaged on potential trolley services in conjunction with our neighboring the city of Fenton. So thank you for being here tonight, Ed. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me here tonight. For many of you that I haven't met in the past, I've been at the MTA going on 46 years. And so I just come out of meeting my staff and I reminded them, today you drive, tomorrow you ride. Make sure it's a good ride. I'm making sure it's a good ride for me. And but what I really want to talk to you about is what's happening in our industry. You've been very supportive. This community's been very supportive. We have our challenges at the state level and at the federal level. At the state level, today, they don't even have a budget. And there's no likelihood right now that on October 1st, they'll have a budget. Many systems will shut down. We are not in a position where we'll shut down, but obviously that will hurt our organization in many. And right now, what's happening in the legislature is there's a lot of discussion between roads and other funding sources, one being public transit. And there's been everything from removing all funds, putting it on the roads, to let's make sure public transit's taken care of because so many people need the service. And so we're working through that and we're working with the legislature. Same thing's holding true in Washington. And there's so much on pause there that we have to kind of wait and see what happens. If I were to ask them today, if you gave us vehicles, would it be electric, hydrogen, propane, or compressed natural gas? I can't get a straight answer. But our whole fleet has been converted away from diesel. We were buying over 3 million gallons a year. Today we're at 30,000, soon no diesel. All diesel we know. We have a fully alternative fleet of vehicles. That's good for the community, it's good for the people that use the service. At the same time, we're really proud of it. But what's happening in our organization today is that we recognize that we need to work with every jurisdiction. We need to work with you in every other jurisdiction to determine what kind of services you need. what's gonna work well for your community. And that's why I came out today, is I really wanna talk to you about the reason that we're buying trolleys, the reason we're doing some of the things we're doing. It's gonna be all about working with you to plan service that meets your needs in your community. Instead of having this big macro service that may or may not work for you, we really wanna work with you and partner with you to determine what kind of services we can provide that better meet the needs of the city of Linden. And, I think we're gonna be extremely successful at that. In many areas today, what I'm hearing, and even in our neighboring Lansing, they have a $12 million deficit next year. What I'm hearing there is they intend after next year to cut service and to cut employees. We're not taking that road. Our road is one, let's figure out how we can transform service. We have been extremely successful, and you may not be aware of this, but at the MTA, because of your support, our Rise to Wellness service, which is a medical service that is provided within 30 minutes of your call, is the #1 medical service by our public agencies in the country. You should be really proud of that. In the country, we have all kinds of awards, but it's all about doing things different. And I will tell you that I've been invited, I've sat with the legislature, and they've asked me a question, who came up with these ideas? I said, it's what we need. It's what we need for today's world. We have seniors, 20,000 seniors a day turning age 65 for the next 17 years. Think about that. Not only is there medical needs, but there's also going to be those that might have a disability also. So we have to think about how are we going to address that. Our Rise to Wellness is one. The other is one that we had some years ago when the senior millage was passed. We had a service called Senior Care. It was a door-to-door service. We were able to do that for a period of time, but because of some funding changes that took place, our part went away. And we're gonna reintroduce something of that nature. I really think it's important that we find service that better meets the needs of our seniors, veterans, obviously those with disabilities. But with seniors, we want to do some special things. And Ellen was at a meeting that she heard us talking about those. And we want to find out what will work and what really takes care of your shopping, your medical, and many of those other things. And also at the same time, there are many activities in the community that we should make transportation valuable so our seniors can go to Whiting Auditorium, they can go to all the different events going on. So when we started with trolleys in Fenton, the idea is to have at least 30 trolleys countywide. And what we want to do with those trolleys is that we want to work with a local DDA or whatever that body is, and we want to let them help us figure out how to make the trolleys so they work for you. You have an activity going on, you have a fair going on, things that go on in the community. It gives some entertainment value, but it also gives you some say-so over how things work. So it's gonna take a while before we get all those trolleys. You may have had a chance to see the red, white, and blue trolleys we have. I had some given to me by a friend out in California. They're the old green models, one of which unfortunately burned out, but we're bringing in new ones. We got 3 more on the way, and we're really excited. But what I just want tonight to say to you is that we want to work really closely with Linden and every other jurisdiction to determine what kind of service would best fit your community. It's not going to be about us just saying these are the services valuable. It's that partnering for you to tell us and help us understand what do you really need and how can we deliver it. It's there are many challenges, but as I mentioned earlier, I've been to the White House. I sat in the White House, and they talked about our medical service, and they couldn't believe it. They said, it's hard to believe that you have a service that's working that well, and why don't we do it all over the country? And I said, I can't speak for other areas. We should all be proud of what we have. This year, we have about 150,000 medical trips that are provided on that service, just that service alone. And, people continue to use it. We have, in the community, we have 30 contracts to partner. One of those contracts deals with veterans, and we're going to expand that. But today, we take veterans to Ann Arbor, Detroit, Saginaw. We take them where they need to go to get to their appointments. And by the way, when we're there in Ann Arbor, we wait for them. They don't have to go all day long, stay 10, 12 hours, ask a neighbor, ask a relative, so. Just wanna let you know, and, you know, I know you have other things on the agenda, so I won't carry on, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. But I do wanna tell you that we're gonna be working extremely hard to partner with you to develop service that gives you, I wanna make sure you have world-class service out here. So I'll answer your questions you have.
Thank you very much, Kristen. Councilwoman Simons.
Thank you very much. This is very interesting. I've seen the trolleys, and I've always wondered what was going on with the medical aspect, and surprised and delighted to find out that we're number one in the country, because that's one of the most critical things we can do for our seniors. So I really like that. And as far as a need for services, I think that's just something we're gonna have to think about. Have to do some type of investigating, looking at that to answer that question. And thanks for your presentation.
I will mention that when we take them to their medical appointments, if they need to go get their prescriptions on the way home or go shopping, we do that also.
So,
And we wait for them, so.
very good.
Councilman Hicks.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. Very exciting. I want to read more about it. It's enlightened me and opened my eyes up.
Thank you.
Councilman Link.
Thank you for coming in. I think probably the best opportunity for us to figure out how we can best team up is to get with, places like Shiawassee Shores here at LoC Center to find out exactly what needs we have so that we can present those to you and come up with a joint effort to try to meet the needs of the people that need the transportation. So,
Great. And one thing I will mention is that we're still hiring, we like to hire local. So people say, well, what's the age? And I said, well, you can talk to our nearly 80-year-old driver, and he'll tell you he loves what he's doing, or she's doing. And so we are hiring. So when we come to your community, if you have individuals that want to be a part of this, like on medical trips, most of those are sedans or they're SUVs. And, people are driving, taking people to medical appointments, and just a wonderful service.
So, how does this team, how would our LoC Center here, how would they work with you on getting busing for an event? This fall, or?
We have an individual that handles that, and I can have her contact the LoC Center here and get you the information. Because, that's exactly what we can do, is to make sure we get you to your events. Now, if you all decide to go to the casino, you can't take. That's where you're going to casino, some group too, it's a casino, but we certainly can work with you. And there are many opportunities today that really are not being addressed. We work closely with FIM, with Whiting, and I talk with Ronnie Montine on a regular basis, and says, hey, let's partner with seniors so they can come to our events.
Is there a cost to, would there be a cost to the senior center, or is that provided?
There's a cost that is developed as part of our, today it's $2.25 a piece, okay, for our normal your ride service or for a fare. But those can be worked through the city, and maybe you have maybe other ways. As a group, we have some opportunity there too. So we don't need to charge everybody on board when we have a group. We just need to make sure that we keep sustainable. So.
And if another organization in the city wanted to work with you, like happenings, or I'm just saying that for, just to name some, or whatever, they could work that out with you too, it's not just like the senior center.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, just to add on to Pam's, we actually have a contact that we work directly with at MTA, and they've actually worked with us to take us to events in Flint and different things. So we have a really good relationship, and they have serviced us before. And I know in the past they've serviced, I think, happening in Linden, but Brad can speak to that further. But so we try to take advantage of all the services that they have to offer as much as possible.
But I will tell you that we hire people today, and the expectation to work 5 days, about 3 days into it, they say, I really only want to work 3 days. Just send me your check to my home, I'll just stay home. So we have those challenges, but at the same time, we have many great people, 700 employees. And 700 employees are fortunate, we have some really great people.
what is required, for a person to work for you? What is the requirement drive license, just a CDL?
If it's a car, there's not a CDL requirement. If it's a 15-passenger vehicle, there's a CDL requirement, we can help them with it. We have many people, face up real quick and comical. I was at Myers in line, the lady came over, she watched me on TV when I said, hey, I need help, can you get back to my office? She came over and said, you see the man standing there 2 aisles over? I said, my husband, would you hire him? We're looking for drivers, we have many cars, we have well over 100 cars at Top Creek.
Councilman Dick?
And that is true. As Councilor Howell said, and suggested, having Linden works with MTA every year to provide shuttles at the Christmas parade. We bring 5,000 people to town. You're on your ride shuttles for us at numerous locations. We've been doing that for about 7 years now. So it's been a pretty good partnership. How many riders is the Fenton your ride hub servicing nowadays, you know?
I'd have to get the number, because we have it in so many different portions. We have your ride, we have the rides to wellness service, so there's so many group activities. We certainly get that.
I was in Grand Rapids at the Illinois Convention last week, and it was with Mike Hart from Fenton, and we were talking about the medical rides, and after talking with a city councilor from Birmingham, Oakland County is now jealous. So, good job.
I first want to thank you for coming out here today. Thank you so much for taking your time and explaining your services to the residents. I have a couple quick questions. So the first part is I would love to see more availability of MTA for our senior center here to bring people in, to take them to the pharmacy, to take them shopping. Is that whatever the needs here are, since this is kind of a hub? I would really like to see that.
Okay.
Probably in addition to others, but that one to me is key, especially as we move into winter. So I was going through the numbers, did my research here, and $174,000 we did last year on the millage. The city of Linden contributed to this millage through their tax dollars. What does the city of Linden uniquely and specifically get for their $174,000?
Well, we have the ride service, we have the ride to wellness service. We have access for those that work, that need transportation, that can go and access jobs, not only here in Genesee County and outside, because we go to 6 other counties. And so we have a combination of services. I think if anything, there's an underutilization of the service. And as you were talking about the center, if we were to provide more service for the seniors at the center, obviously that's going to bring that number up. And that's really why we're talking about is how can we better utilize the services so that you're getting a better return.
Got a couple. Okay. So the Benton Hub, who does that serve as far as municipalities?
Would be the city of Benton. And you're talking about service related to following and that activity?
No, so as far as
Or you're talking
your
about,
ride,
you're talking about the your ride service.
either your ride, yes.
Yeah, the service center there serves the city of Fenton, Fenton Township, city of Linden. And, sometimes we're asked to go into Oakland County, or we don't call it.
Okay.
But basically those 3.
Okay, not Argentine? then?
Yes, Argentine. Argentine, there again, there's an underutilization. We need to do some work with Argentine. There could be needs there that we could be addressing. And we recognize like Montrose and like, out in Otisville, some of those remote areas. We have to spend a little more time figuring out where we can help them.
And this is just for my knowledge, so that we know how to get this out to the public more, okay? So I can answer Brad's question. There was 3,675, out of the Your Ride Benton Hub last year in 2024. So I would love to know how many of those were from the city of Linden, so that way we can know what kind of services we should be looking at providing and how to get it out there, maybe more, so that it's more utilized.
Sure.
I don't know if you'll have the answer to this, but out of those 3,675, how many of those are repeat customers and how many are unique? Does that, like, first time
Well,
customers?
we can get you that information.
Okay, I
will
would love
tell
that.
you
Thank you.
that number is far under what we're actually doing.
Okay,
That's more typical of what we do on a monthly basis.
okay.
Okay, so we'll get you some information.
I would appreciate it, because I had gotten that, compiled, it was sent to me from someone that's on the board.
Okay.
And so that was the best information that I could get. So.
Yeah, there again, the reason that we wanna work with each municipality is that we feel that there's a lot more opportunity to use services. We need to partner to figure out how better to use those services. When the senior millage was passed, we actually provided, today we do, that Carmen Ainsworth, who was met with, the group of Carmen Ainsworth. They're one of the groups that continues to have a vehicle of ours and driver. In the, early on, when we had the senior millage, we actually had drivers that we were replacing with vehicles. And at one point, we actually had one for the ocean. We're very involved, so we need to take a real look at that.
Excellent.
Like yourself, I'm a taxpayer, and I wanna make sure that I get, on my taxes, I get a great return. It's the reason that with my years in business, I understand we need to do a great job making sure that we're all in how we're spending money, which you do.
I appreciate that very much, thank you.
And I served on one of these boards, 19 years. And more than one board, so I really respect it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, really quick, I think it might be helpful, the mayor and I've had a lot of different conversations about MTA because it's something that she feels strongly about, within the city of Linden. And in the last meeting that I was at with you, you explained about some other services that you do for getting, individuals to jobs in other counties and things like that. Cause that's one of the things I think that you guys have had questions about, was how you're seeing MTA in other jurisdictions that are not necessarily paying. So I thought it was helpful, and maybe tonight while we've got you, maybe you explain that to the residents and the council about your services, that kind of cross over into other jurisdictions and how that works and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1997, we were given a grant to start service outside of Genesee County. All my dispatchers thought the bus would go off the cliff, we'd never see them again, but I convinced them it'd come back. We've been doing it for a number of years, we go to 6 counties, but we provide transportation to those counties with individuals that live here and get access to jobs. One of which is up in Hemlock, Michigan right now. They're looking for, I don't wanna say thousands of workers, but quite a few. And we're working to develop a hub that will bring in Shiawassee, Lapeer, Saginaw, Genesee County. And so individuals that want to access those jobs will have hubs where you'll be able to do so. And those jobs, I think, start out at, it's either $23 or $26 an hour. And so they're really good jobs. And so, we're not trying to take people away from employers that need people here, but at the same time, if you can access one of the jobs, we'll make sure you can get that.
And if I understand it right, those are contracted services, right, with those individual municipalities or jurisdictions or even employers?
Employers.
Okay.
Yeah, the employer may pay for it all, or they'll pay part. Today, it's, for the employers, many are willing to pay because it's the employees. But there are 5 different ways you can do it through IRS. Individual could have it taken out of the pay and then they can use it as a deduction. So it's called the commuter benefit tax. But yeah, we've been doing it for years, after the pandemic. We were 10,000 a week, we're kind of going back, building back up. Many people return home for jobs here, and so now we're kind of redeveloping.
What are the hours of operation for MTA?
We are, 5:30 AM to 11:30 PM, and then for those going through dialysis, or the special needs, we'll start earlier, not later, but earlier in the morning. So, we are working, as I talked, at the meeting in Elm, service, we're not ready for it, but will be an on-demand service so that the general public will be able to use an app, just like you do at Uber and Lyft. You'll be able to use a vehicle, have a vehicle come to you, and your party, and take you where you need to go. If you're ready to go home, you just get the app. It'll be, one of the first of its kind, so we need to develop some things first to get ready for it.
Are there any further questions? Okay. Thank you again
Thank
so
you.
much for your
Thank
time.
you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too, thank you. All right. Next up is APM mosquito control report by Seago.
Yeah, that's it, you got it.
Right.
It's been butchered before. Good evening, everybody. I'm here to talk about the mosquito season. We've been a longtime contractor for Linden City, and several other municipalities here in Genesee County. I will keep it short and sweet. Chilly spring, usually we start spraying the week before Memorial Day, and we did not start until first of June this year. May was pretty chilly. We get into summer, mid to late June, a lot of thunderstorms and a lot of heat, and it really is a rain game for mosquitoes, especially here in Genesee County. The more rain we get, the more mosquitoes we're gonna have. If you get a 2 to 3 inch rain event, pretty much count on 7 to 10 days later, you'll have a fresh brood of mosquitoes. So June and July were our busiest months by far, not only in Linden, but Burton, Columbia, Gaines, and City. Just summer floodwater mosquitoes. Mid-August, however, dried out, early in mid-August dried out, and we fell into a weird cool spell there at the end of August and into early September. So when August is dry and we cool down, of course it's warm back up now, but you really don't have any sort of activity going on right now for mosquitoes. Traps came down 15th of September. We were in the single digit counts wise. Still in the office every day, but we're just not seeing any action, which is kind of nice. We're getting summer weather without the bugs here, so we gotta enjoy it while we got it, because the sun's gonna be flying soon. So by the numbers, we had 29 resident calls to the office. Like I said, only 2 in August and no calls in September, so we're pretty quiet. We treated 34 standing water sites with 231 pounds of Ectobac G. I made a spelling error in here, but 616 city catch basins were treated with natural RXRT briquettes, and there's mosquito larvae that inhabit storm drains, so every year we do that. And we treated 21 homes by backpack applications. You guys got a really good attendance tonight, so I just wanna tell everybody, if you're having a party or a barbecue, or you guys are getting bit by mosquitoes, call the office and we can come out and backpack spray for your party or any kind of event. So on that too, for homeowner tips, we find wheelbarrows, buckets, all sorts of mosquitoes breeding in little containers in the backyard, even bird baths, gutters. So just a reminder, store your containers upside down. You would be shocked at what little amount of water can be breeding your own mosquitoes. We also test for West Nile, St. Louis, and Eastern equine encephalitis. We had no activity here in Linden, no actual activity in Genesee County from our test. There was 2 positive birds for West Nile that was reported to Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. So there's more on that. The Department of Health and Human Services puts out a weekly arbovirus update every week throughout the summer. They do a really good job. It encompasses the whole state. So if you're ever curious on that, I can get that over to you, or you guys can look on your own. We sprayed 235 miles of roadways in the city this summer. And you can see just in that graph right there, we lit up our highest New Jersey light trap count was 264 females collected on the 30th of June, right at the DPW on Bridge Street. So they were pretty nasty for the end of June and through the 4th of July, really. Once we get into end of July and August, it really, you can see, it just falls right off, and that is all rainfall dependent. So I also did not include in there some good news. It's in the report that I got over to Kristen, but we're $4,851 under budget this year, so that's always good. When it's dry and quiet, you know, I'm all for spraying when they're bad and knocking them down, but when we don't need to be out there, we don't really like pushing it. So
But yeah, it was a pretty solid season, a bit of a roller coaster, and Mother Nature's helped us to ease into the fall, so. It's not uncommon to get a call for a football game or you know, somebody's having something. We're still at the shop until the 1st of August, so guys feel free to call over, and thanks for your continued business, and, go Lions, we got a big game tonight, so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
very
any
much.
questions from anybody? Yes, ma'am.
You're still in the office until when?
Well, October 1st,
Okay, you
yeah.
said August, I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we have, field techs and office staff that are, we pop in a couple days a week, but we're trying to shut it down. I got some hunting trips I gotta get on, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any further council questions?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, for like parties and such, is there a fee for individuals that have to come up?
no, it's all included.
It's in the price?
Yeah, it's included in there, so. We got a pretty solid product. It's a 30-day product, so, especially if we can't, we're a smaller city lots where we can't really get a truck in there. It's, works pretty good. We just ask like a 3 to 5 day heads up, you know, so.
Thank you so
Yep,
much
thank
for
you,
coming
guys.
in.
Okay,
and for your
yep.
report.
Yep.
Up next is the proclamation for the Linden Mills Historic Society.
Madam Mayor and City Council, our final presentation tonight, honoring the 50 years of service by Linden Mills Historical Society. The society has preserved and shared our community's story through exhibits, education, publications, and the sesquicentennial book, Linden Memories Past and Present. On behalf of the city and council, we extend our gratitude to the members and volunteers who have kept local history alive for the future. So Madam Mayor, I'll turn that back over to you to present the proclamation, and I think if you don't mind, would you want to present it up here, we can ask the members of the Historical Society to come up as well. So Pete. Yeah, and whoever you want to bring up here with you.
Come on, girl.
Kristen will also put a picture of her, so she'll get, she's in the back there, so. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, good to see you.
A proclamation recognizing the 50th anniversary of the Linden Mills Historical Society. Whereas the Linden Mills Historical Society was established in 1975 with a mission of historical preservation and education. Whereas over the course of 50 years, the Historical Society has preserved, promoted, and shared Linden's history through collection and display of valuable artifacts, photographs, documents, and additional, which have been proudly displayed within their museum in the Linden Mill building. Whereas through its exhibits, educational programs, publications, and outreach, the Historical Society has engaged citizens of all ages, fostering pride in our shared past and inspiring all to appreciate and learn about Linden's history. Whereas the Historical Society played a pivotal role in the celebration of Linden sesquicentennial in 2021 and put together a book entitled Linden Memories Past and Present as part of the celebration, and whereas the dedication of its membership, volunteers, and supporters has ensured Linden's legacy is preserved and the story shared for generations to come. Now therefore, I, Elizabeth Armstrong, Mayor of the City of Linden, do hereby recognize and congratulate the Linden Mills Historic Society on its 50th anniversary and express our I wanted to thank Brad Dick, this was Brad's idea. So I do want to make sure everybody is aware this was his idea. So,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Really quick, I think we'll have you guys kind of group up so Kristen can get a nice picture. So if some of you could kind of come in front, maybe we'll do 2 rows, Kristen, would that work better? Okay. Is that okay?
I can also get pictures from the video feed too.
Unless all of them.
Everybody has come by, where did the
All people in the back, like here to like over here.
Oh, we'll start with this.
Is that better, Kristen? Chair. Oh, geez. We can get a chair. I appreciate that.
You sure?
You can get out.
Anybody else you can't see? One, two, three.
Boy. Oh, when I garden, I need a bucket Yeah. Are we going? We have no public hearings tonight, and no correspondence, so we are now going to move on to public comment. Go ahead.
So I think we'll.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I think.
You're not amplifying. I can hear you, but you're not.
Let's try this.
Does it make sure it's like a camera?
Yeah, mine's dead, so.
It does.
Is this better?
No.
Okay, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna use my mom voice tonight, okay? All right, we're gonna use the mom voice. All right, so next up is public comment. We're gonna start with Surf Internet.
Did you lower your prices?
All right, well, I'll see you guys later. But I will take that as feedback, so great. My name is Jordan Holzworth. I'm with Surf Internet. I'm considered what we call a market manager. And my job is really kind of in the middle of government affairs, community relationships. Deal a lot with HOAs, Chamber of Commerce. Like to come and see council at least once a year. It's been quite a while since we've been here, and that would probably been 18 months or so ago when we first were really starting this project. So I really just wanted to come by and introduce myself. You guys have so far been great partners to us, and we just want to make sure that we're continuing to be great partners to you guys. And if no one ever shows up or comes by to say hi, you probably don't know where we're at. So again, we're based right out of northern Indiana in Elkhart, so we're not too far away from you guys. We have about 120 markets across the Midwest between the tri-state areas, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and about 70,000 customers or so. We think that we have some of the best service out there because we're no contract. You're price locked for life, so that's something great for your residents. And we try to be pretty affordable, but maybe we can look into a couple of things there. So, while I'm here, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of stats so we can kind of level set, where we're at so far. In our first initial build, we passed 3,000 homes and businesses in your city here, and we still have 1,000 really in design or coming soon. It could be over the next 12 months or so. There was some private property and HOAs that we have to go back later after, going through the public easement and get some, agreements with them, so. And we, roughly, it took us about, we've been active for about 9 months fully, and really just, again, just wanted to come back and just make sure that we are answering all your guys' questions or concerns. Yard restoration, things of that nature. We wanna make sure if there's something, we are here to correct it. Any questions from anyone? No, pretty good? All right, very easy.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Stephanie Shaw.
Hi, I just had a question if you knew when you're gonna start the sidewalks on Hyatt Lane. My daughter's graduating in the spring, I'm having her open house, and I was hoping it wasn't gonna be about that time. When they'd be started, cause Hyatt Lane's a small road, so planning for that, I just wondered.
And usually they'll, the city manager will usually at the end of all public comments, go back and address them, just letting you know, okay?
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you. Ramona, please.
Ramona Dees, 506 North Bridge Street. When I suggested several months ago that LoSI should have a members advisory committee composed of members who frequently attend activities at LoSI, it did not occur to me that the city would want to involve outside organizations such as Southern Lakes Parks and Recreation. Having outside organizations involved will not achieve the goals that I envisioned of having more programs that seniors want and need, and increasing membership of younger seniors. The Southern Lakes Parks and Recreation Board does not have the best interest in LoSI in mind. Roby was the liaison from LoSI to their board for 8 years. When the Southern Lakes Park Village was passed with the help of senior citizens, 19% of the proceeds were allotted to LoSI. Southern Lakes reduced our portion of the village several times. Some of the Southern Lakes board members wanted to eliminate our portion altogether. Southern Lakes charges more for their classes than LoSI does and have fewer free activities. If they are involved on a LoSI advisory committee, they might encourage LoSI to charge their higher rates, making some of our classes unaffordable for some of our members. Why are you shutting down the congregate lunches during the months of construction? Homebound seniors on the waiting list for Meals on Wheels depend upon the lunches. Surely you can get the kitchen at the community center inspected. Please do the right thing for those seniors.
Thank you. Roby Dees?
I'm coming.
All right.
This microphone doesn't seem to be very effective again. I don't think it ever worked. The pickup is not very good. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? I'll do this. I'm gonna talk about art. I've always loved art. I've painted with crayons and mud and whatever. And I've never seen a Picasso that I liked. I've seen some graffiti in Chicago off the train that I really liked. I'm familiar with Grandma Moses, which most of you don't know. She was a woman in Vermont who painted country scenes. We've got a thing on the city hall down there that I don't like. I have nothing to do with it. Don't like it. But something's coming up, a painting at the bridge. And it's a very appropriate painting. It's just the wrong place for the painting. It's not a good place. If you go down and look from the dam towards the bridge, you can't see it. There's a couple of umbrellas sticking up and trees in the way all over the place. So who's gonna benefit from a nice piece of art there? Kayakers and ducks, maybe. And if you go to the other side and put the picture down there, people going downstream are gonna be looking downstream, they're not gonna be looking back at the picture. Might be more appropriate to find another place, maybe out at the Triangle Park or someplace else. If you wanna see that thing that's going to be depicted, even though it may be free, you can stand at the dam and you can see the gazebo, and you can see the middle, and you can see the stream. You don't need the picture to look at it. I'm all in favor of good art. What I think is good art, other people might disagree. When I go to the art museum, I walk right past some things that make me want to throw up and go look at what I consider art. Is it right to disagree with me, or everybody's got a different taste about art? I just don't want to see the city make another mistake on displaying art, even though it might be very symmetrical or nice, and some people might like it, and some people don't like it, but the placement of that art, I think, is key and important for the city. And once it gets there, it's hard to get rid of. And I think you've confronted trying to get rid of some art, before, and been unsuccessful. Once it's there, it's there. So make a good decision about where to put it. It's very tasteful art, more tasteful than what I'm talking about. But put it somewhere where people can see it and enjoy it. Maybe over the top of that other one.
Thank you, Ruth. Monica Larner.
Monica Lerner, 152 West Rolston Road, Linden. So, it seems that the public comments rules seem to change. It used to be we had 5 minutes for comments, then it seemed we were being punished and there were no West Ralston Road and Bridge Street had, road right-of-way signs, for 5 days. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. Are there any other public comments? Seeing none? We're going to move on to,
Madam Mayor, do you want me to try to answer any of them? Okay. Back to the safe routes to school. So, as I communicated, in my update to council, but, Stephanie, it is still scheduled to happen this fall.
Okay.
But again, I mean, we are at the, nearing the end of September, so, we'll work, just let us know, shoot me an email, let us know when your event is for next year. It'll be something that I'll have, our staff and our engineers just be mindful of and things like that. So, once the project gets going, it should be pretty straightforward and go pretty quickly. Fingers crossed. So, stay tuned for more on that, but it is still slated according to MDOT to still happen yet this fall. So, really quick, I didn't mean to jump over you too, but Jordan, thank you for being here, and we're happy. You share anything, information that you want at City Hall and things like that, and stuff, and we're happy to get that out to our residents and stuff. Really quick, Ramona, on the advisory committee, so it's really important for us, and I think I've explained this before, that when Linden took over the Losi Center, it's really important for us, for everyone to realize that it's not just centralized for the city of Linden residents. Everyone in Genesee County pays into the senior village, and at the previous board, and Roby, you can speak to this, existed with 2 Southern Lakes Parks and Rec members, 2 Tyrone Township members who didn't even pay into Genesee County taxes, as well as outside of City of Linden. So when we talked about the advisory board moving forward, we just wanted to make sure that we had representation from those within our jurisdiction that utilize LOSI, whether they be Fenton City, Fenton Township, Argentine Township, and things like that. Nothing's been finalized at all, but to clarify, it's not just giving Southern Lakes a seat at the table. Southern Lakes has just asked that that's something that we do as well. And I think that we've been able to build back our relationship with Southern Lakes Parks and Rec, and I guess, Counselor Simons and Madam Mayor, you can maybe speak to that as you sit on the Southern Lakes Parks and Rec board. So we've just tried really, really hard to make sure that our surrounding jurisdictions know that this is not something just exclusive to Linden, and we want to hear those voices of those people that are utilizing this center as well. So it impacts a lot of people. Most of the people in Genesee County all pay into the senior village and things like that. So just to clarify that as well. The congregate meals, so our project is a renovation for the annex, and it is gonna disrupt some congregate meals. I know Tessa and Dottie and all of them that are involved in that are working to try to minimize the impact as much as possible and to do as much as they can to hopefully offset that, or if there's someone that is in great need of those meals, to pair them up with those services. And if there's anything that they can do to adjust, they certainly will. Roby, appreciate your comments on the mural. I think help clarify, and also, I don't wanna be insulting of those that have done the work on City Hall as well. I was not at the city when the mural went on the side of City Hall, but I know that when I first started, people feel very, very passionately about the artwork that's there, and it was done in conjunction with the younger elementary grade students and as the art teachers at Linden. So, as Roby said, art is subjective, so I'll leave that one there. The owners at Bridge Street Boutique, who's adjacent to the bridge, they are the ones that are actually bringing this application forward for the mural. It came before council as a courtesy because it obviously is, city infrastructure. It went before the HTC as well. It's a project that they are trying to do for the community that also enhances their area, but the entire downtown, if you're sitting down at the amphitheater and stuff, something uplifting, something fun and things like that. I think they've shown, and Kristen, maybe you can speak to this better than I can, I think they've shown that they're willing to hear, feedback and consider different options for their art and things like that. So nothing has been decided in full, but appreciate the feedback on that. Ms. Larner, again, thank you for your comments. I can't necessarily speak to how your public comment was handled at the last meeting. We were advised, to put it on the record. It came in the day of the meeting. I think you dropped it off to Kristen specifically. And my response, was in regards to, we've attempted multiple times in multiple ways to try to answer a lot of your concerns and questions. It's typically not ever met with any resolution from your perspective. And so that letter was to address, in your letter, you specifically said we were targeting and harassing. And so that's frustrating from my perspective as we're trying to manage the city from a day to day. And my police are very professional. And I can let Chief Sutter speak to that specifically. We've tried to answer the questions specific to the chicken ordinance, past zoning requests. I know Don in multiple ways has communicated, specifically to West Rolster Road project, specific to your property and any of the public works concerns. So I'm happy at this point, to allow council to maybe address it. Maybe you guys will have a different result, and I do appreciate it. And again, my comment was, I'm happy to hear concerns and issues if they're based in factual information.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. I think that's really all I had.
Move on to the consent agenda.
I will make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Support?
Dick?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Simon?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Armstrong?
No.
Howard?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, unfinished business. Item A, ordinance number 421, and ordinance amending chapter 90 animals.
Madam Mayor and City Council, ordinance 421 is in front of you. It's been, this is something that you guys have all talked about, many times, at previous meetings as recent as our September 8th meeting. And just to quickly review, this is updating our current, animal code to reflect the community's interest in small scale backyard chickens, all while still maintaining clear standards in health and neighborhood compatibility. So the biggest changes, we are, and Adam's here too to hopefully answer any questions. And this is a reflection of all of the feedback that we've received to date, okay? So, addresses where and how many chickens, based on the lot size, addresses the permitting, as a zoning permit is required with a simple sketch showing the coop location, things like that. Separation of pens and yards, no less than 75 feet, correct? And then a 10-yard, 75 feet from any existing dwelling or building, and then not less than 10 feet from any property line. So that was discussed most recently. In your packet as well, you have a map that exhibits, kind of gives you a visual to help kind of show, and Adam can explain that further. So with that, I'll turn it over to you all to.
Councilman Hicks, do you have any questions?
Nope, I think Adam has showed everything on the map. Thank you for the work.
I think this is what we've discussed, and I think that the change and the verbiage is appropriate, so no other questions. Thank you for attending, Adam.
Councilman Link,
Thank you.
Councilwoman House.
It contains all our changes as we had talked about in the past, or the past meeting, and so I have no further comment.
Councilman Dick.
No other comments?
Does anyone in the public have any comments that they would like? Mrs. Larner, if you come up to the microphone, thank you.
So I see that you've kept the chicken ordinance based on acreage, following the city of Manchester. Was there a newly adopted one from June of this year? The discussions here in Linden also started in June. The city of Manchester has half the
was at the MML convention in Grand Rapids this week, and food ordinances did come up, and city chickens were a huge topic. Most municipalities have lower caps than 15. We've gone back and forth as a board, we've talked about chickens and how many we should have. You know, I've talked to multiple municipalities that were in the meeting that have sent it to the ballot, but they have to approve chickens in the city. But again, they're at 6, no matter what, they don't care. And most people who I talk to, you know, agree with our no rooster policy. Anybody, most of them are anywhere from 6 to 12 chickens. You know, we'd be setting at 15. You know, I think we're in the right place right now.
Any further comments from council? Questions? Is there a motion?
I will make a motion that we, vote on ordinance number 421 and ordinance amending chapter 90 animals.
Madam Mayor, the motion would need to read approving, ordinance 421, chapter 9, amending chapter 90, keeping of chickens and such, or amending chapter 90, animals keeping of chickens.
I will make a motion that we, pass ordinance number 421, amending an ordinance amending chapter 90 animals, as written on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Link?
Yes.
Simon?
Yes.
Hout?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance number 422, an ordinance amending sections 154.024, 154.231 through 154.232 zoning ordinance planning commission.
Madam Mayor, I think I'll let Adam, do you wanna take it away, Adam, for this one?
So this is coming from the planning commission after holding a public hearing with the recommendation that you would approve the amendments to the zoning ordinance. It's related to 2 items. First, reducing the number of site plan copies, hard copies that would need to be submitted to the city for projects that appear before the planning commission. Currently, the number of the zoning ordinance is 12. We simply don't find the need to require 12 hard copies, 24 by 36 sets, which can get pretty lengthy and pretty costly. We only really need 3. It's one or two for the file, one kind of for distribution across the departments. So the recommendation there is to reduce it to 3, and then a couple of other instances, modifying planning commission membership, officers, and rules to either, in most cases, it's to change it in accordance with state law. One is how a planning commission member can be removed from office, and it's updating it to the most current legal terminology that the Planning and Zoning Enabling Acts stipulate. It's also to specify the number of meetings per minimum that need to be held by the planning commission each year. That is 4 per the Planning Enabling Act. And then also to indicate that the planning commission provides annually a report to the city council of their activities. That's also a requirement of the Planning Enabling Act. So really, we're just updating the zoning ordinance as it relates to the planning commission to be more consistent with state law and our current practices. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer.
Do any residents have any questions on this?
Madam Mayor, really quick, and in addition, I put in my update that this, in October, we're actually gonna be holding a public hearing for the housing zoning amendment, so just to clarify any confusion with that this has nothing to do with that, that's something separate and coming in October.
Thank you. Okay. Councilman Link,
I have no questions, thank you.
Councilwoman Howe.
Adam, you said that you wanna change it to
still do have a couple of holdouts who like to see the paper versions, including a couple in the departments who like to see that paper version. And we do like to have one for the file for purposes of record as well.
The beauty of the electronic version though is that it can be altered in a way, it is as it is presented, so.
I'm sold.
Yeah, me too, save a lot of paper, that's a lot of trees you're gonna save.
Councilman Dick?
No comments, questions?
No questions, thank you.
Councilwoman Simon?
Nothing in addition. Thank you for bringing that forward.
And I have nothing in addition. Thank you.
You just need a motion to approve ordinance 422, amending the zoning
Do we have a motion?
sections.
I will make a motion that we, pass ordinance number 422 and ordinance amending sections 154.024, 154.231 through 154.232.
Support.
Lee?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Simon?
Yes.
Next up, we have the conditional rezoning request for 210
I'll let Adam take this one.
This is a conditional rezoning request submitted by the property owner, and the applicant is Debbie Cameron. She's here this evening, seeking a rezoning of her property, 210 Oak Street, from the R3 single-family residential district to the R4 multiple-family residential district. She, in exchange for the rezoning, has voluntarily offered in writing conditions related to the use and development of the land if rezoned. Specifically, that property will only be used as a triplex. That is the current use of the property presently. No other uses under the R4 district zoning would be allowed on the property except for a triplex or duplex or single-family dwelling. But she would still retain the right to use property in the future for any of the uses under the current R3 district. So that, a public hearing was held, the planning commission recommended acceptance of her conditions, and it is in front of the city council for your final action and authority for that rezoning. We've also submitted, and the attorney has reviewed, a statement of conditions that's required by the zoning ordinance for any conditional rezoning, so that statement is a recordable document, so that, of course, Ms. Cameron and future property owners are aware of that restriction that would be placed on that property. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them.
Are there any resident questions on 210? Where is this property?
It's 210 Oak Street.
Councilman Dick?
No questions, just background on this property was, multifamily being used, it's existing non-conforming use. The applicant wanted to change it to R4 so she could actually get a mortgage on it.
Councilman Hicks?
I have no questions.
Councilwoman Simon?
Thanks for sharing all the information. We have everything we need. And I don't have any other questions.
Councilman Link?
I have no questions.
Councilwoman Howe?
No questions.
And I have no questions. Is there a motion on the conditional rezoning request?
I will give a motion for the conditional rezoning request 210 Oak Street.
Support. We do have a sample motion. Is that happening? Yep. Page 2, Adam's letter, is that what you wish to review?
We just wanna make sure that we're clear with the expectation of this being a conditional rezoning, so. So Adam prepared, just a sample motion for adoption tonight for you all. Would be on page 34 of your packet, it looks like.
Sorry about that.
You're fine.
In consideration? Is that what you're consideration of the planning commission recommendation of adoption and agreement with the planning commission finding that the request satisfies the review standards of section 154.030E of the city of Linden zoning ordinance. I move to adopt the conditional request submitted by property owner Deborah Cameron to rezone 210 Oak Street from the R3 single-family residential district to the R4 multifamily residential district. I further move that the conditions offered by the application be incorporated into the signed statement of condition accepted to the city attorney.
Support.
Simons?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Linden?
No.
Link?
No.
Hicks?
Yes.
Armstrong?
No.
Motion fails, tie.
As or Attorney Gilder.
Motion fails.
So now we are moving on to the city manager update.
So I sent out an update last week with project updates on West Gloucester Road. They're working on the punch list of stuff right now. Linden Mill Pond Walkway project, substantially complete. We're again working on punch list. If you all have seen it maybe firsthand or been able to see the pictures that we have out on social media as well, it looks beautiful. I know that, many people are happy with it. It's just a great addition and improvement to the downtown. Continuing to work on the CDBG, ADA amphitheater and gazebo overlook projects. We do have the bids in for that, for the ADA compliant platforms. I talked about this a couple meetings ago that, this is something that they have, the city applied for back in, I think, 2019, and it comes in 3-year cycles. So it's been a long time since that project has been discussed, but it's finally coming forward with the funding, this year. So, hopefully have that information back to you guys to act on. I included in my update as well, all bid specs and stuff like that. So, hopefully have that back to you guys in October. Again, safe routes to school still hopefully happening this fall, fingers crossed. We did just receive the approved coffer dam permit from Eagle for the mill, and we're working on scheduling a groundbreaking ceremony and things like that once we know and have further information from Cunningham. We didn't want to have too long of a start date from groundbreaking to them actually breaking ground on the mill, so looking forward to that. Working on the Low Sea Annex remodel project as well. Last Thursday, we had a meeting with the county and Case Construction to get that moving forward. West Broad Street rehabilitation project, we're still working with MDOT to get that. It looks like that's gonna flow into next year, and that's a simple mill and resurface, and anything like underground structures or ADA that would need to be addressed during that time would hopefully be addressed. That was through TIP funding and small urban funding that we get from the state of Michigan that's funneled down through the county. Hydrant flushing is coming up October 6th to the 12th. I think I addressed the suspicious emails. Just be vigilant about that. Just maybe look at the sender. I know there was a lot of emails circulating that had spoofed. It looked like some of the counselors and the mayor. Just look at the physical email because it was not a legitimate email, just with the name. So just look at that. We've talked to our IT about it and things like that. They're aware of it. Chief Sutter did, and that same update, put together a memo on deer population and things like that, following our last work session's concerns of that. That information's out there. Again, he's here if you guys would like to address that further. His memo. Our BSNA transition is technically official. Today I really was working in the program a lot, and so a little bit of a learning curve, even though we've had all kinds of trainings, but it's going well. So the next thing that we've got to work on is upgrading, like I said, from our Windows 10 support by October 1st, because so we have some systems that would no longer be supported and things like that, working on server. We're doing audit field work. Our auditor has been out on site last week, working through that. Chief, I think, are they done with the filming in Eagles Wooden Park? I think they were supposed to be done last week, right? Okay. So that wrapped up. I know that we did receive some complaints. Chief had addressed that with those that had applied for the, use of public space permit. Homecoming's this Friday. The firearm sales business, sounds like there's been some confusion as to what that is. And again, Adam and Brad could probably speak to this even more in detail. But the planning commission reviewed and approved a preliminary site plan for a proposed firearm sales business at 208 Lindenwood. And the approval was very strict conditions on that. You know, no inventory may be stored at the residence, no firearm transfers are permitted on the premises. All sales must be conducted online. So there's not an exchange there, and there's not like just a business on site right there. It's all online sales and nothing coming to and from that I'm aware of, right? Adam or Brad, anything further on that? Again, I think I spoke to the zoning amendments earlier. I did put in there a link to the Genesee District Library Board seats. There's 2 more seats available. So there's a link to anybody that'd like to apply. Obviously, our community events coming up, and our downtown day. Hopefully some of you guys got to see, we got to take over the Michigan Downtown Association, all of their social media to get Linden out there. Tessa did a great job on those videos and stuff, so that was exciting. It was a good showcase to our community, I feel. And Losie's Got Talent was a huge success. I think that it was well attended. I did not get to be there, a part of it, but I know some of you guys actually were participants in it and enjoyed that evening as well. And then our downtown day coming up September 27th as well. And in addition, just something to add on to the public comment. Monica, I'm happy to have a conversation and us try to come to some resolution on your concerns. I think the information that I provided is the factual information, is when you're saying that we're targeting harassing in regards to your specific situation. It just makes it tough to find any resolution at any point. So again, I'm happy to sit down and talk with you about your specific concerns. I know that we've explained it, and you've had multiple emails back and forth with Donna and stuff like that, so those answers are pretty clear, but I'll leave it at that. If you guys would like something different, please communicate that, so.
And the city attorney update?
Nothing else?
Thank you for the department reports. Appreciate those. And now we're going to go to council comments and reports. And we will start with Councilwoman.
So, the first thing that I have tonight is I did attend the Losie Talent Show. It was really great. Wow, they really had a good time. Nice sense of community, and the staff was amazing. They did a fantastic job, so I wanted to make sure that that was noted. As far as Southern Lakes and Parks and Rec, I'm a commissioner on the board, and I know it's been mentioned publicly quite a few times that the board is delighted with the changes at the Losie Senior Center, and happy to support at every opportunity as they have been in the past. We are still looking for a director of the Southern Lakes Parks and Rec. Resumes are being reviewed now, and we hope to have someone in place by the end of the year. Our current director has graciously offered to stay until this person is thoroughly trained. So we're really excited about having a new director, and if you have any questions, the board does meet the third Friday of every month at 7:30 in the morning. This Friday, yes. We're meeting this Friday. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Hicks.
Just a couple quick things. At the HDC meeting on Wednesday, it was exciting. There's gonna be a couple projects. Some of the local businesses are gonna do some facelifting, some painting and stuff, so it'll just improve the downtown nicely. The Sonic's gonna get a new front glass and door and everything up front, which I think will really let that blend in everything real nice out there. But other than that, everybody in the meeting was uplifted, and things are coming to town. They're gonna be good. Thank you.
Councilman Dick.
As you know by now, I was at the MML conventions this week, so there's a lot of good things coming out of there. Obviously, their first session that they had, what did you think you were getting into as a public servant? So it was very interesting, the powers and pitfalls of leading a community. And redefining community, people, purpose, and place. That's another thing for us. It's kind of like thinking, where do people gather in Linden? To try to improve on like a gathering area and work on that area. And we kind of have been with the amphitheater in the downtown area. So we're working on that. Roby, murals were also a big consideration. There are some towns that are doing some great things. Check out Rogers City. They've got some phenomenal murals up there in a very small city. Yeah. So working, the general sessions, working beyond budgeting and sparking new change in real time. Breakout sessions, civility in your community. Can we agree to disagree? And their attorneys went through that quite well, and there were some great comments from the community, and there are some places that are, they got some YouTube videos out there and they're actually monetizing them, so we need to check in. That's how bad they are. Thriving Communities for Thriving Michigan. I'm gonna send all these links out, all the material is available. I'm gonna send the links out to Kristen so she can forward it over to council so we can go through, and if there's something we wanna go through in depth at their work session, we can work on that. But all in all, it was a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Howe.
It was a pleasure to participate with the Losi Has Talent Show, especially to be accompanied by Ramona, because she did a fabulously nice job for my two sons. I really appreciate Ramona. And I loved your harmonica, Ruby. That was awesome. I have a couple updates. Parks and Rec's Owl Walk was phenomenal. We had over 80 people, and some think Sadie thought we had maybe 100. It was phenomenal, and it just tells us that people give a hoot about their city and their owls, and so we should do this again at maybe a better time, and maybe later fall, and because the problem was it was still light out, and the kids, bless them, but were saying, Mom, when are we gonna see owls? Of course, we didn't see any owls, but it was a lot of fun. It was adorable watching the kids. At the Genesee County Metropolitan Alliance meeting, planning, we talked about the safe streets, and we talked about how cities have to upgrade their roads to maybe worth the state highway dollars, and Ellen assured me beforehand, Silver Lake Road that's already been done for Silver Lake Road. And you're gonna love this, but they're going to do roundabout education, how to drive through a roundabout. Now, that wasn't really discussed in depth about how they're going to do it, but they are going to do it. So, every little bit helps, education and safety first, right? And then I have a question for Ellen. Maybe it's actually for Don, but you probably know. On the Don's report, the DPW report, said you had to, for Eagles, to satisfy the permit, you had to relocate the freshwater mussels that you were found there, which actually the list is really impressive. You know what that indicates? The fact that they found freshwater mussels in the Shiawassee River is the water quality is excellent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be surviving there. So if anybody has any questions about water quality, I can tell you firsthand, it's excellent, because there were 5 different species of mussels, native to Michigan, not like zebra mussels or those Fuego mussels that are invasive species. These were our own freshwater mussels. I'm really impressed. What did you do with them?
So, OHM actually was the one that did the reconnaissance survey. They were, I think we were all surprised that it didn't seem like those, the water and the sediment below the dam was conducive to the endangered species, but they did find them, and they did relocate them, and I apologize, Pam, I don't know.
It's okay.
But they are required to relocate them with the same similar environments, so, but it was enough to satisfy the requirements for the conservation. Yeah, cool. That's it.
Councilman Lee.
Yeah, a couple things. First, Chief, I would like to say thank you for the officers on Ralston Road. I know there's some issues with where they're parked, but it has made a difference in the speeding. I noticed when we first got the road finished, it was like the Autobahn going down there. And then with the sign being there, and I know there was the officers parked down at my end of the street as well, but, overall, I think that was very helpful because I've noticed a definite slowdown. So I do appreciate that. On to the deer report, there was a couple of things on that one. I believe that this is somewhat of an issue. That the deer to car accidents, I think is not a major issue. I know in the statistics that you provided, I assume it was for the number of cars that travel through the city through the entire day, where deer movement, 90% of your traffic's probably when the deer are, sleeping during the day. But also, I don't know that, accidents in a 25-mile-an-hour zone with deer are as common as on, say, 55 or some of those roads. But I think something else to look at with the issue with the deer population is the destruction of people's properties, as far as people planting gardens, flowers. I know a lot of people have issues with that happening. I know there's not a easy solution to get rid of them. Hiring a sharpshooter, I don't think you want any shooting done in the city limits. But trapping them would also be an extremely expensive, but I would like to discuss some way that we can work at limiting the number of deer in the city. I know at my house, quite a few of the neighbors, they plant, my wife spends a lot of money planting flowers, and the deer seem to love to eat them. So, I think that's a problem around the city. I don't know how we address it, but I think it's something I would like to discuss, maybe bring it up at a work session, but, I know a lot of people have a lot of damage if, there's a lot of financial burden on people. They go out and spend time and money on these flowers and gardens and stuff, and then the deer come in and wipe them out overnight. So I would like to look maybe a little bit further on, is there a way we can get rid of the deer, do it safely, and it just, reduce their numbers, so, but, anyhow, that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, and I've got a couple things tonight. First up, kind of like our city manager had said, there are 2 positions on the Genesee County Library Board that are currently open. So if you love your library and you want to be a bigger part of the library as a whole, you can contact City Hall. Is that appropriate, City Hall, for details?
Yeah, I think the best bet would just be to, go to, we can share the link out.
Okay.
We'll share that out,
Thank you.
and stuff, and it goes directly to Genesee County. I think they can find it if they go to their site too.
Perfect,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, so I am on an organization called Small Cities, and we have been, I put myself on that because I had one thing in mind, and that was I wanted to really look at our millages and make sure that we are, as residents, getting the most possible out of our millages. And so there is one millage coming up next year for renewal, and it is a library board millage, and so that is the one that I looked at first. And so currently, Small Cities is going to be working as a group, speaking to the library board, speaking to different, whether it be the county, all sorts of different, we have different mechanisms that we are going to be utilizing, also looking at the contract for the library. I will say that currently, there is a substantial amount of money sitting in an unreserved fund. That is the first thing I think we want answers, as Small Cities, as to what is that money. That is not part of their budget is already good to go. This is separate, so we would like to know what that is for. That is number one, and then we would like to see what we can do coming to the table, whether lowering the millage or renegotiating our contract. Because currently, what goes on is the residents of the city of Linden pay a millage to Genesee County, and that millage covers a librarian and it covers books. The residents of the city of Linden cover the building, they cover the lights, the water, the everything else, as well as the janitorial, the cleaning services. And I am not anti-library, I'm very much for library. And because I am very much for library, I wanna make sure that the 19 municipal libraries have a way to fund themselves that is not residents paying twice for the exact same service. And so this is something that I am very, very passionate about. I hit the ground running with it immediately upon going into small cities, and I will continue, millage by millage, to be looking at these items and finding how we, as Linden, what we're considered out county, can make sure that we're getting the best utilization of our millage dollars. So I wanted to, I haven't said anything until I was pretty sure we're moving forward now with it, so I waited to speak on that. One of the other things I would like to just see on the work session, next month, if we could possibly bring up the dementia-friendly, PTSD-friendly, and age-friendly city information that I brought back from Michigan Association of Mayors Conference, which is the training for whomever would like to take it to make us friendly and, to all those listed. So I would like to see if we can talk about that and maybe have the AARP come in if that's possible to discuss it. Thank you. And then my last one, I would like to apologize to Mrs. Lerner for making your public comment a correspondence. I'm sorry that if you did not feel heard. Thank you. And that is all I have. So, unless there is